Hey, this is Matt once again. We're back to another video, and this is a paid request for Bronson. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, whether it be a topic, reaction, a commentary, a review, a re-review, random topic, movie tier list, ranking, reaction, video game playthrough for an hour, full playthrough, whatever the case may be, PayPal's usually the best bet. I do have a Cash App and a Patreon because people have asked me about those. All those links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I can. So this is for the 1988 film Beetlejuice. Now before I get started, before people ask in the comments, no, I have not seen the sequel. No one has requested the sequel, so I figure, well, oh well, I don't care about the sequel. If no one wants to request it, then I guess I'll just let it pass. But I know a lot of times in recent streams, people, oh, what's your... I don't care. I don't care about the sequel. I will only see if it's a paid request. But this film, though, not only thank you, Bronson, for the generous request, but for letting me watch this again, because I forgot, this is a great movie. It's been a while since I've seen this, and it's a classic. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's a classic. And I forgot how short this film was. This film is only an hour and 32 minutes. You take out the end credits, it's an hour and 28 minutes, and it flies by. I forgot how well paced this movie was. Within 10 minutes, you're knowing a bit about the characters, you're full into their predicament, where they're ghosts, and there's a damn sandworm, and you're knowing the in and outs a little bit of the afterlife and the limitations, and they're trapped in this house, and then a few minutes later you have the other new owners of the house move in, and you get the other predicament. Like, we're already in the thick of things within 10 minutes, let alone 15 minutes, and it didn't feel like it was rushing. It felt like, no, this is the amount of time it needed, and it worked out well for the proceedings. Now, at this time in Tim Burton's career, he had just done Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Now, that was a hit, so people go, well, this guy could make a film that's a hit, but there were talks of Tim Burton doing Batman, but that's such a big property, and could Tim Burton handle it? And then he was doing a lot of strips. Apparently, I don't know if this is true, but apparently one of the strips he got was Hot to Trot, the talking horse with Bobcat Goldthwait. Yeah, I could see why he would turn something like that down. But then there was this strip flowing around that, from what I understand, the script for this originally was a lot darker and a lot more violent, where Beetlejuice would kill people, or at least want to kill people. And like I said, it was much darker, more violent, less comedic. Kind of reminds me of The Mask, where The Mask, if you looked at the comic book, it's much more darker, edgier, more violent. And then the movie was definitely more comedic. Same with this. Now, Tim Burton, of course, would direct this film, then direct Batman, Batman Returns, Edward Scissorhands. Had a good run. I mean, honestly, the last Tim Burton film I really enjoyed was Sleepy Hollow. I love Ed Wood. I love Sleepy Hollow. Those are two of my favorites. Also love Batman, Batman Returns, etc. This would definitely be in the top 5. I don't know what the ranking would be. The stuff Tim Burton did afterward, I'm not big on. Sweeney Todd is like, there's some stuff I don't mind, but there's some stuff like, eh. What was it? Dark Shadows, I hated. Alice in Wonderland, I hated that one. Planet of the Apes, I definitely hated. So, I mean, it's like a lot of directors. They lost their way, in my opinion. Now, this film, it does have a very good cast. Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin. They did a good job playing this regular couple who you could relate to and you could root for. Gina Davis especially expressed a good sense of warmth from her character that may be easy to feel sorry for her and sorry for these characters. where they're just minding their own business. You can tell they love each other, they care for each other, they have this nice place. Al Bowen has his model going on of the whole town, and they love each other, they care for each other. They're just going out for a drive, and then someone's dog, who I don't know who owns that dog, but they need to be slapped in the face with a dick because they let their dog run around and causes people to die. So whoever owns that dog, you deserve a kick in the nuts. Or kick the dog in the nuts, or whatever. And they swerve, and then they go down to their deaths. But yeah, Gina Davis, Alec Baldwin, like I said, they're a good regular couple. They have nice back and forth chemistry with each other. And they are easy to be the viewer. Us, who we live vicariously through them to this weird, crazy, not heaven, not hell, purgatory, afterlife bit of business. Whether it be the weird rules that you go outside and you're in this world of sandworms, whether it be to see the person that studies their case worker, and the waiting room, and all these weird creative ideas, and you see their reactions, and we could live through their reactions. We understand why they're reacting this way, and it's something for the audience to relate to. Because we definitely don't relate to the new people that move in, whether it be Catherine O'Hara or Winona Ryder or Jeffrey Jones, because they're from the city and they go in there and they want to live there. The place has been sold. Catherine O'Hara, I forgot how unlikable that character was. She does have some funny moments, but man, she is such an unlikable character. Granted, on purpose, to be fair, so she does a good job of acting-wise, but man, hated, loathsome character. Jeffrey Jones, in real life, he's a piece of shit. He's a pedo. He loves the child, P to the O to the R to the N. He loves the kids. And I would love to him, I don't know, face an electric chair. Face first. And I'm not sorry to say that. Jeffrey Jones, there's a good sized room for you in hell. Can't wait for you to get the guided tour. If you don't partake in that type of stuff, you deserve the burn and then some, so that's all I'll say about him. Jeffrey Jones can kiss my sweaty ass. Michael Keaton, I mean, he's not in it for a lot, but man, he makes an impression. He makes an absolute impression. I mean, you could probably clock in, he's in it for 15 minutes, if that, but man, when he comes in, the energy, the electric charge he brings to the scenes, and just the dialogue, like, so many memorable quotes this guy has in the limited screen time. You know, I'm the ghost with the most, baby. Or, it's showtime. Or, you nice fucking model. Or, go ahead, make my millennium. I did just great lines they gave the guy. And again, just so much gusto and energy they just portrays with each scene. Whether it be when he first meets Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis and hugging them and kissing her and being Alec's buddy, and while we dress alike, we shop at the same place, you know. One of my credentials, oh, I'm from Juilliard and I do all this stuff, and I've also seen Exorcist 167 times. It gets funnier each time you see it. And you talk to a dead guy. You don't have to kill anyone. Ah, possession. Let me do. Throw your voice in. It just. He brought it and then some. And by this point, Michael Keaton, he had done some comedy with Night Shift, Gun Ho. I think, yeah, Mr. Mom. And then drama with Clean and Sober, which is a wonderful movie. If you've never seen Clean and Sober, easily one of Michael Keaton's best performances. Sincerely, like, fantastic movie, Clean and Sober. Underrated film. I think that definitely showed that he wasn't just a comedic actor. He could really do more than what people maybe expected. And of course, when Batman comes around, people like, what the hell, really? Mr. Mom is Batman? But then he showed people and said, hey, yeah, I could do it. Proved him wrong, and did a wonderful job, in my opinion. You have small roles with Robert Goulet, The Singer, Dick Cavett. So that was fun to see them. I mean, they don't have a whole lot to do, but it was nice to see them in the supporting roles. I liked Glenn Shaddix. He plays Ortho, who is friends with Catherine O'Hara's character. Again, his demeanor, where he's just very, not posh, but just pretentious aura about fashion and about making sure the house looks as great as it's supposed to be, and shaking the cans and the spray paint, and oh, it's just ghastly. Yeah, that type of character. And is a good actor. Sadly, he passed away way too soon. I also remember him in Demolition Man. He was the guy who Dennis Leary calls you look like a couch. What? And Dennis Leary kind of takes him away at the end to try to, I guess, shape him into a more loose human being, so to speak. But yeah, Glenn Shaddix, may he rest in peace. And from the makeup effects being on point, I believe it won an Oscar for makeup effects, which is richly deserved. And just so many great creations and originality. Just so much originality in it from... And they don't even get to show it much, but when Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis are supposed to be more gung-ho to steering people, and Alec has the lawn face and the eyeballs on the hands, and then Gina Davis puts her head up. It's like this, I don't know, like a crackhead velociraptor with then eyeballs in the mouth. And they're only, like, they don't really do anything with them, but just the visual is impressive. The use of stop motion with the sandworms, the few times they go outside into that other world, the snake Beetlejuice creature, I thought those effects still looked really good, and even by today's standards. Even when in the waiting room in the afterlife, where you have the different people, you have the pinhead little voodoo guy whose head is this big, you have the woman who's been cut in half, you have the bluish, more greenish lady, the little creature guy thing that's going to marry Beetlejuice and Lydia, that little guy, I love the way he looked. Just so many instances of they really got their heads together and said, what can we do to make this unique? Make this, dare I say, original? God forbid. And Danny Elfman's score was fantastic. Great score. I remember there was so many movie trailers that we used the score to this film to promote their movies. Just a fantastic score. Danny Elfman knocked out of the park with it. Even the Harry Belafonte, bringing Deo back. And even the version at the beginning, I don't know who sings that version. Deo, he's a Deo. Because later on when they dance as Harry Belafonte, but when the titles come up, you tell it's like a different person singing it, but I like the way he did it too. And even from the get-go, when you're hearing that, it's like, okay, it's like a kind of a creepier version of Deo. He's a Deo. And it goes to Danny Elfman's score, and then the opening of the model city, where you're not quite sure what, like when you're very first seeing it back in the day, you're not quite sure what you're seeing. Am I seeing the city? But then, wait, does it kind of look fake? Or, oh, okay, they didn't do the effects that great, but then, or they didn't really hide it was a model, but it is a model. And I thought that was a great way to introduce. We get a sense of the town, even though we're never outside the town, but we still get a sense of it because of that opening. And I say the couple work well. Alec Baldwin, I mean, with all the stuff going on with him. And the thing is, I did think he was a good actor in this film. Even The Hunt for Red October, among other movies. I think he gave a good performance in, what was it, Malice, I believe. I am God. The less said about what's going on with him, the better. I think Alec Baldwin should have been punished much more harshly. I'll put it that way. But does he do a good job in this? Yes. I'd probably say I like Gina Davis a bit more. I thought she expressed even more warmth, but I thought they worked well together. And again, just the amount of creativity, just early on when they have the accident and they get back, and Gina Davis has the fire on her fingertips. That simple effect, but works very well. And a lot of it being in camera really worked well. And even as a comedy, there were still times I chuckled at this. Even though I've seen this quite a few I did watch it quite a few times when I was a kid. Couple times when I was in my teenage years. But like I said, there's so many films, it's hard to rewatch films nowadays. But there's still a couple stuff that made me chuckle. Whether it be when they find the book of the recently deceased and Alec Baldwin, he thinks it says recently deceased. Oh yeah, deceased. Something about that made me chuckle. I don't know why. A lot of Michael Keaton stuff. Nice fucking model, and all the other stuff. Had a lot of fun bits of dialogue. Catherine O'Hara, her character is bitchy, but when she's yelling at Jeffrey Jones saying, "I'm going to go insane. I'm going to take you with me," I did laugh at that. And again, just to marvel the effects, when they tried, because I mean, people know the plot, but I'll just do it anyway. They die, they come back, they don't understand what's going on. They try to go outside. There's sandworms out there, so they're stuck in there. New family moves in. Jeffrey Jones, the stepmom, Catherine O'Hara, and the daughter, Winona Ryder, as Lydia, who's very much into death and darkness and dresses all in black and wants to die, pretty much. So, I don't know if you want to call it emo, or I don't know what you want to call her something. Winona Ryder is fine. She's fine. She's fine, I'll put it that way. She was never my favorite character in this film. That's one of the many reasons why the new Beetlejuice doesn't interest me, because I didn't really care to see Lydia. I know there was a lot with the cartoon, and I've seen clips of the cartoon. Maybe 1 or 2 episodes, but I didn't follow the cartoon as much as other people did. Maybe I saw back in the day Saturday morning cartoon, but hell, that was a long ass time ago. That was at least over 30 years ago, so at least I have vague memories of it. But like I said, Winona Ryder does fine. She doesn't do a bad job. Maybe just like her behavior. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Just something about her I liked but I didn't love. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just that type of character. Everything sucks. Everything's so bad. And it's like, oh, give me a break. Just shut up. Shut the fuck up. But she's not annoying or anything, at least, so there's that. I'm just saying, like, if I'm looking at characters that I enjoyed the most, it would be Gina Davis, Alec Baldwin, and Michael Keaton. Like, to me, those three is what really make this film work character-wise. And I did the Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. They see this family moves in, and they try to steer them off. They don't know how to do it, so they try to do stuff, but they can't see it. Again, some nice makeup effects. You have Gina Davis try to rip her face off, and eyes pop out. Of course, they don't see it. Or she's standing there with a knife with a decapitated Alec Baldwin. And then you see the head without, the body without the head run off and have to close the attic door. Like I said, a lot of good, like, creative, dark humor in this movie that I think is very appropriate. But it still is consistent tone. Like, there's nothing that I thought was so egregious that, well, damn, this is weird, or this got awkward. That's the thing, it never really got awkward. And I think that's one of the nice surprises about the movie. Just, it's a balancing act that you could really screw up and go, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to think that's funny, or I'm supposed to think like, so it's a lot tougher than you would think. And again, you have I mentioned the caseworker and that whole thing. A lot of good lighting too. Like the way it looks, it's a very good looking film. The way the house looks before and after our characters die. The blue and green lighting and the usage of that when they're in the afterlife, how you want to call it, to get to the caseworker. And that's the thing, that I saw trailers of the new one and it looks cheap. I don't know what it is. It looks cheap. It looks like Rob Zombie's The Munsters. It does. It looks like the lighting in that damn movie. And I don't know if it's because they're shooting on digital while this, of course, was on film, or whatever the hell the case was, or if it's using filters. I don't know, man. I really don't. Now, it would have been nice to hear a little bit more about the afterlife and how that all works. I watch it again. Apparently, they're supposed to spend 125 years in that house. At least that's what was said in this movie. I mean, or did they say 125 years on Earth, but they can't leave the house, so obviously they're not in the new one, Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. And I get it. Well, number one, I don't think there never ever needed to be a sequel. But, you know, they're older. How would you explain ghosts aging? I get that. I said, well, why would the ghosts age? That'd be a good point. I do wonder, like, how they explain why they're not in it, though. Like, again, if they're there for 125 years, obviously it has not been 125 years, so maybe some loophole, I don't know. Unless they don't explain it at all, but I would imagine they would have to explain it somehow. It'd be very egregious if they didn't. And oh yeah, of course the other creations they have in the waiting room, like you have another one that made me laugh, the burnt guy, the charred up guy, Mr. Char, as I call him, Mr. Char, like just nonchalant. You want a light? Yeah, I'm trying to quit. He's all charred up, and I love the way that looked. That's a really neat creation and effects they did for that. And then like, you could just have a guy come in and tell them, let's go. But no, let's have a guy that literally got mowed down and he's a pancake. And he's like having to be put up and moved around like a piece of, like a suit. Just move around. And you see the road tracks, the tire tracks on him. I mean, like, is it that? I never would have thought of it, but it makes... I mean, in this world, it makes sense. It just, it's a funny visual. I admit. They meet the caseworker, they try for Beetlejuice, they realize, nah, that guy ain't gonna work. They try to steer them off. You have the Deo dance scene, which I do like that the actors like Catherine O'Hara and Glenn Shadows, who plays Ortho, I like the detail where they get possessed and like they're doing it, but then you see on their face like they're possessed, but then there are times it kind of breaks and it's like, what the hell am I doing? Oh, but I'm being possessed again. I'm like, what the hell? Like Ortho gets it, is like, but then the center was like, what the hell am I doing? But then he's back into being possessed again. I like that little detail for the characters. And, I mean, Deo's a great song by Harry Belafonte. It's a very catchy, upbeat song. I remember the music video, which you can find on YouTube, with Harry Belafonte kind of in scenes from the film. Like I said, it's a very upbeat song. Like, it has that upbeat flavor to it, and makes sense to where Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin doesn't want to hurt anyone, and they don't want to scare anyone. So yeah, let's have them possess and do this goofy song and dance thing. But it's very memorable. Then of course Beetlejuice, you have the other side where he has much more sinister intentions, and I like that balance where you see the playful with what our characters do, then you see how Beetlejuice is much more animosity in trying to get them out. Then you have the exorcism at the end where, okay, how do you make it an issue with our main characters where they're dead? Well, they explain in the one bit in the after the waiting room, there's a room where this is death for the dead. People have been exorcised and they're like lost souls that are tormented and seem to be in constant torture, and now you make a threat for our main character, so now you have this goal where I know Beetlejuice, he says he has to marry Lydia, I guess, to leave, but I still don't understand what the fuck the point of him marrying Lydia was. I guess just because. But it's not, I mean, he does, if there were moments where, like, he's studying her and looking at her and goes, oh, she looks hot, like, a little bit more of Beetlejuice kind of looking at her, and, like, a little bit more of he grows this infatuation and then wants to marry her, like, maybe a little bit of that would have been nice to see in terms of a little bit in the mindset of Beetlejuice. Or maybe I'm just wanting more of Michael Keaton because he was so enjoyable. But I mean, other than one or two lines, it does seem kind of out of the blue that he wants to marry Winona Ryder's character. But whatever. It's like, again, he has barely even looked at her, but all of a sudden, when he's a snake, he's like, looked at her for 10 seconds, and he's like, oh yeah, I want to marry her. It's like, where'd that come from? So maybe like a little bit more build-up of that would have been nice. But yeah, once the creativity, even at the third act, is still on par with the rest of the film, where the carousel thing, where he takes the two arms, and poor old Robert Goulet and the wife, they go up through the ceiling. I'm guessing they survived. You never hear from them again. How he's stopping Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, whether it be making the guys mouth pop out, or Gina Davis with the zipper and then the steel trap. They keep up with the creativity, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It makes it a fun viewing experience. Things work out at the end. This is, of course, this is a movie you're not supposed to take seriously. You're not supposed to take with logistics. Like, for example, Alec Baldwin gets in the toy because he gets teleported to the model. Why does the truck, who's a model, like, it's a model truck, why does that drive like a regular car? Because it's a toy car, so toy cars don't really have motors of that, like a real car. But you just go, whatever, he's a ghost, he maybe did this, You know, he did something with it. They're ghosts. They could do other stuff. So maybe he's making a move with his mind. So you know, it's like I'll that's fine. There's reasons you could explain that's very easy. It's not a big deal. And they both have their moments to shine. Alec Baldwin hits Beetlejuice's foot, and Gina Davis brings the sandworm to him. So they both contribute. One is not useless. Things work out. They don't live together. And Lydia seems happy, singing, "Shake your body, baby." I find that strange then that apparently in the new one she has PTSD. I'm like, she seemed pretty fine here. I mean, I'm just saying she seems pretty fine and dandy. But, you know, and she likes this dark shit. That's part of her character, but whatever, you know. Take that for what you will. And like the ending, I mean, it's more fun than scary. Like the movie's not scary. It's not violent. It's not any of the sort. So I don't know. I could buy one of the kids having PTSD from Ernest Dear Stupid than this. Because I would say the troll of that film was scarier than Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is more of a car salesman, but and a fun car salesman, but a dick. He's more of a dick than, you know, scary, but that's the fun of it. But yeah, Beetlejuice is a classic. It's a fun film. It still holds up. I don't really have much issues with it. Goes by at a fast pace. Yeah, I would like to have seen a bit more of the afterlife bits because those were really intriguing. I would like to have seen a bit more. Yeah, I would like to have seen a bit more Beetlejuice, just because I liked his performance so much. And maybe a little bit more of where the infatuation comes with him for Lydia. And he puts it like he has to marry someone, but if that's a rule, why did that rule come about? And if it's not, then again, just it's not a big deal. It's just a little thing that popped in my head while watching it again. But overall, very fun film. Great movie. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.